This week on Talk Travel with Samantha, we're talking about the biggest mistakes travelers make booking all-inclusive resorts and why all-inclusive does not always mean all-included. Welcome back to Talk Travel with Samantha, where we help you travel smarter and vacation harder. Somewhere along the way, people started believing that booking an all-inclusive means you can just throw your wallet into the ocean and live your best unlimited pina colada life. And honestly, sometimes yes, but sometimes you arrive thinking you booked luxury paradise and suddenly you're paying extra for steak, room service, premium drinks, beach chairs, Wi-Fi, airport transfers, and even bottled water. So today we're breaking down what travelers always get wrong with all-inclusives, how to avoid wasting thousands, which resorts are actually worth it, and the biggest red flags before you book. All right, let's start with the biggest misconception in travel. All-inclusive is not a universal definition. One resort means unlimited gourmet dining, top shelf alcohol, activities, airport transfers, room service, premium coffee, snorkeling, and spa access. And another resort means, here's your buffet. Good luck. Common things not included: premium alcohol, specialty restaurants, airport transportation. This is a big one. Airport transportation is not always included. And sometimes people will get to the airport, or get to their destination airport, I should say, and they're like, who's picking me up? Well, that was something you needed to book before. But you can obviously take a taxi or find some airport transportation there. They're always yelling for a taxi. But please make sure if you really wanted airport transportation, that is definitely included or you have purchased it extra. So common other things that are not included would be excursions, spa treatments. That's a given unless you're going to a spa resort. I got to be honest, unless sometimes the spa is included, but it's very rare unless, like I said, it's a spa resort. Tips. Sometimes tips are not included, but what I want to say about the tips are sometimes they are included. But I got to be honest, even the resorts that say they're included, you'll see the employees stand there and basically wait. Like they're like, and aren't you going to give me something? You're like, aren't the tips included? So I guess I would say ask around. If tips are included, just keep your eye out. But obviously, go with your gut on that one. But sometimes they're included, sometimes they're not. Other things not included: upgraded beach areas. Sometimes you'll have, a upgraded access, club access. Sometimes that is not included, and that's something extra you have to buy. Bottled wine. Room service, not always room service included on all the all-inclusives. Water sports. If it is a motorized water sport, it is probably not included. Golf and Wi-Fi at some resorts. I feel like that should just be included everywhere, but at this point, you just never know because it's a good moneymaker. And my personal favorite, the free restaurant that somehow requires a reservation you can never actually get. Have you ever gone to the all-inclusive and you're like, ooh, I want to go to that restaurant? And they're like, yeah, it's sold out. You're like, what do you mean it's sold out? I just got here. I couldn't make reservations prior. Like, yeah, but it's sold out. By who? Have these people been here a month? Like, I don't understand. How the heck did they get in? This has actually happened to me where I'm like, so annoyed by that. So the biggest booking mistakes. Mistake number one: booking only based on price. I know that I've said this a couple times, at least twice now on this radio show. Watch out for booking based on price. The cheapest all-inclusive is usually not the best value. I mean, that's a given. Once I bought a toaster for very, very cheap, and because I was like, we're going to have toast only a couple times, so maybe we just buy the cheapest toaster. And guess what happened to the toaster? It went up in smoke. So know that the cheapest isn't always the best. So people see 5 nights in Cancun for $6.99, and then they arrive to watered down drinks, impossible dinner reservations, overcrowded pools, and chicken nuggets that somehow taste emotionally exhausting. Value matters more than price. Honestly, just really compare when you're looking at resorts, and just don't pick the cheapest one. I promise it's probably not the best. I can almost guarantee that. Mistake number 2, ignoring the destination. Not every all-inclusive destination has the same vibe. So I've been talking a lot about this on the radio show, is that checking out the vibe, checking out the personality, seeing what it feels like, on the different cruise lines. I've said different islands. I've talked about this a bazillion times. So we're talking about the vibe of each area, right? Of each all-inclusive. So here's a quick vibe breakdown. Mexico has a huge variety. That place, you can't step foot anywhere in Mexico without seeing an all-inclusive. And a large all-inclusive, honestly. Like the things are huge. They're absolutely massive, these all-inclusives in Mexico. So there's huge variety. There's great food because, let's be honest, the Mexican food is fantastic. And it's a best overall value. There's a wide range in Mexico of all-inclusives, from your base, least expensive all the way up to luxury. And the service is really, really good in Mexico. They try so hard to make you happy. They want you to come back. They want you to be comfortable. The service is awesome in Mexico. So we're going to hop over to Jamaica, and it's lively, fun, and culture heavy there. You're never going to eat as much jerk chicken as you will in Jamaica. Obviously, they create it, but no joke. It's literally everywhere. They're like jerk chicken. Yeah, jerk chicken. Yep, jerk chicken. It's literally everywhere. Dominican Republic. It's affordable. This place is, I always say that if it's your first time in all-inclusives, you're diving in, Mexico and Dominican Republic are your very first places you're going to start, because the pricing is good, and it's where you're going to want to start. So definitely, Dominican Republic has affordable large resorts. St. Lucia, I've talked about this on the last episode when I was talking about the different islands and the vibes and whatnot. St. Lucia is more romantic and luxury, and I keep saying it has a Hawaii vibe. I absolutely love St. Lucia. It's just beautiful there. So you don't book the same resort for a girls' trip as you do honeymooners, as you do toddlers, as you do party groups. So I'm sure you know this, but all-inclusives are broken down to adults only. They have adults only. They have families. They have some that are good for partying. They have some that are good for chilling. So really make sure that you're really checking out the vibe. And that is 100% mistake number 2, is making sure that you're not knowing what the vibe is before you get there. I cannot tell you the amount of people that come to me and say, I went to an all-inclusive, but it was like a party. I just wanted to chill on the beach, and the place where there was foam parties everywhere. And, every night there was a DJ blasting music in our room. Just find out what the vibe is. Mistake number 3, not checking the beach. Oh my goodness. This should be highlighted. If you can get a highlighter out and you're writing this, highlight this. Make sure you're checking the beach. This one shocks people because everyone sees, this beach, and they just think it's Caribbean. It's going to be a great beach. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, the beach is not all the same. The beaches are not all the same everywhere. So you want to make sure that you're really doing your research. Because remember, I talked about this before. There is seaweed season. You want to make sure that you look out for that seaweed season and when it happens and what areas it happens in, because that is the last thing you want to be trudging through when you're trying to get into the ocean with your significant other. You're like, woohoo, running in. Picture this. You're like Baywatch running in, as excited as you possibly can to get in the ocean. And now you are tripping over seaweed. It's caught in your toes. It's in your hair because it's literally everywhere. Nope. You don't want any of that. So make sure that you check out seaweed season. Geez, that one's hard to say. And make sure that's not happening at your beach. So some travelers spend thousands on an oceanfront resort and never once look at the actual beach. And then it's rocky. So check that out. Make sure you're looking at that. The seaweed, like we talked about, it's tiny, non-existent, right? You don't want that. And then rough water. Rough water is a big one that a lot of people don't realize because you don't think to yourself. Obviously the picture they're going to show you is this flat, amazing, turquoise, fabulous, clear blue water that you're going in, right? But it could be uber rough on that side of the island. Always look at recent traveler photos, not the perfectly filtered marketing drone photos from 2017, right? You want to make sure you're looking at the reviews. Another thing people don't talk about with the beaches is you can be harassed on there. They are carrying up and down all the things you could possibly buy, all the way from, toenail clippers to a hairbrush to sarongs to all the things you could possibly imagine that they're selling. They want to sell it to you. They want to sell anything that you're asking for. You want the hair off their head, they're going to sell it to you. That's what happens on some of these beaches. So really check and see if they're private and if, someone can get in there and harass you. Because the last thing that I want to do on a beach is be harassed about what to buy. Because trust me, if I wanted to buy something, I'd end up in a mall somewhere buying it. So mistake number 4, booking the wrong room category. So I really want to stress this one. Again, this is another highlighter. Take this one and highlight it because people get very, very, very confused. There is a huge, when I tell you huge, massive difference between ocean view, oceanfront, beachfront, swim up, club level, butler level, and partial ocean view if you lean aggressively across the balcony. So remember that because people really get confused on that ocean view. Because ocean view, they're like, yeah, I want to see the ocean. Yeah, you're going to see it. But it's probably not what exactly you wanted to see. So really make sure that you're checking that out. Ocean front, you're going to be right on the ocean, staring straight at it, directly at it. It's going to be a really good view. Ocean view, you could probably maybe see it over the trees, or it could be a very clear view. It just depends on where the room is located. So pay close attention to that. Obviously, the other ones are self-explanatory. Swim up, it's very clear. You're probably in a swim up. I can almost guarantee you're not getting any view of the ocean. There's a few resorts off the top of my head that I can think of where you have a swim up and you can see the ocean at the same time, but it's very, very rare. So those they kind of reserve to put in the back to have another cool, additional cool category they can sell you, and they reserve the ocean view, oceanfront, beachfront for a different section. Club level and butler level, completely different. Club, you're pretty much guaranteed you're not getting a butler. Now, again, that's based on hotel. It could be different on each hotel. Butler, you're for sure getting a butler. So if butler is on your list, you need someone waiting on you, holding your lounges at the pool, bringing you a cooler filled with water while you wait, or you're hanging out at the pool, then you need to look for a butler level category. Club level will mean you have a club, you probably have some extra amenities, those kind of things, but you're probably not getting a butler. And it's very clear what partial ocean, it's almost like ocean view. Ocean view is risky, but partial ocean view could be like a sliver. So just be very careful with that. Who should actually book an all-inclusive? All-inclusives are amazing for certain travelers, right? They're great for families, groups, honeymooners, multi-generational families, people who hate planning every meal, travelers who want predictable costs. That's a big one. A lot of people come to me for an all-inclusive because they want to walk out of there with no bill. They want to know that they paid for everything, it's been paid for, and they just know that vacation's done. They can just go and enjoy it, right? People who love pool culture, also a great all-inclusive guest. Who is not ideal for all-inclusive resort are travelers who love exploring local restaurants. I talked about this a couple episodes ago. All-inclusive resorts were made because they're trying to keep you safe, and usually the island isn't the best island to go just roaming about, exploring on your own and just enjoying the island. That's what they're made. When you find an island that doesn't have a lot of all-inclusives, that's because it's made for you to go and explore, enjoy the local restaurants, and have the best time ever. So know that. All-inclusives, not good for people who want to explore the local restaurants. They're foodies. They want to go out and, enjoy the local cuisine. So also not good for people who hate staying on property. You're kind of confined. Once you spend all that money on an all-inclusive, do you want to go spend more money? Probably not. Hardcore adventurers, another one, you're probably not ideal for an all-inclusive unless there are some that are kind of adventurous. Not many though. We can find you some. And travelers who get bored easily, meaning if the pool and the beach bore you, do not go to an all-inclusive. And also people who like to explore, not ideal for people who like to explore. Because again, you're really supposed to stay, not supposed to, like no one's locking you in there. It's not a jail, but that's the point of an all-inclusive. You pay for it, you stay in there, you enjoy it, right? Some people book an all-inclusive and then leave the resort every single day. At that point, you're basically paying for unlimited guacamole you never eat. The Instagram versus reality. Okay, we need to discuss the influencer effect. Because social media has convinced people every resort looks like floating breakfast trays or the floating taco bar. Have you guys seen the floating taco bar? I got to be honest, that's the one thing that I'm kind of been searching for. I do know where it exists. I want to say it's at Margaritaville with Charisma. So if you would like the floating taco bar, that they do bring that out to you in the pool, which is really kind of cool. So I know I'm kind of going against what I'm saying right now, but that one kills me. Empty infinity pools, flower petals all over your bed, which I gotta be honest, they do that, and a private beach with no humans. Meanwhile, in reality, Karen has claimed 6 pool chairs at 6:12 a.m. with a paperback novel and a flip-flop. And there are absolutely different tiers of all-inclusive resorts. Budget all-inclusive, so you're looking for fun, busy, family-heavy, buffet focus. So your budget all-inclusives are going to have that sort of vibe, right? Fun, busy, family heavy, because of course, when you have a family, it's a lot of money to take your family on vacation. So you're going to probably go for the budget one, which makes a lot of sense, right? But those budget ones are very buffet focused. Your mid-tier all-inclusives, you're going to have better food, nicer service, and better beach setups. Your luxury all-inclusive is going to be a little calmer. It's going to be elevated dining, fewer crowds, better cocktails, and more personalized service. So a lot of the luxury have butlers in all of the suites. So that's a really cool amenity that you can get when you go to the luxury level. And yes, sometimes the luxury resort is worth the extra money. I mean, how can it not be? It's going to be amazing service, honestly. So a couple things I want to end with. Before you book an all-inclusive, please ask yourself, is the airport transfer included? Are dining reservations needed? Is premium alcohol included? That's a big one. So sometimes premium alcohol is not included in a lot of the all-inclusive resorts. Now you may say to yourself, I don't really care. It's alcohol. It's all included. And that may be fine. But there are some people out there that are like, oh, I'm not drinking that. No. I've never even heard of that. What the heck is that? Did grandma just make that in her basement? Like, what is that liquor? I've never even heard of that name. Is the room service free? If you're going for lovers, you're going with your significant other, and you want to just sleep in, you're going to want to know how much that room service is going to cost you, if it's included or not, because you may want to just chill in your room and not have to go to your buffet for, some eggs. Have them bring them to you, which would be super, super cool. Is the beach swimmable? We talked about this. Make sure you really find out about that beach, because it's going to be super important. Are there hidden resort fees? This one's not as popular, I'm going to be honest, but just make sure, just ask the questions. Is it family friendly or adults only? So obviously, we talked about this. You definitely want to know, because, if your adults going and you're like, how do we get all these kids here? What happened? We wanted adults only. There are some resorts, there actually are many resorts that will say they're adults only, and they're attached to family resorts, and you could, end up at dinner over there. So know that could happen. You could also end up at the same pool. So make sure you're checking that out, because they may say they're adults only, but you could be sharing pools. You could be sharing restaurants. So make sure that you check that out when you see adults only, that it is a true adults only resort if that's what you're looking for. What's included in the mini bar? Yes, this is very, very important if you are a drinker, because you will have a mini bar and you want to know what's in there, which would be amazing, right? Are activities included? You want to make sure you know what those are, because you might want to do excursions outside of the resort, or there's excursions sometimes that are in the resort that you can book. So those would be extra. What's the vibe after dark? So we talked about that. You're going to have shows, you're going to have DJs, you're going to have foam parties at some places, you're going to have pool parties. So make sure you check out which of those you really, really, really want. And here's a big one that I really, really want you to pay attention to that a lot of people wouldn't think of. This is like pro tip 10,000. Check if they are timeshare sellers or pitchers. And I know that sounds like really, really weird, but a lot of all-inclusive resorts, you would never know that they're timeshare. So when you get there, you are going to be harassed again, like on the beach, to buy something, but this time it's going to be a timeshare. So make sure you really, really check to see if that's the case, because you can definitely get a phone call, a voicemail left, a note under your door as you walk by. Hey, you want to come over here and, listen to our timeshare pitch? No, nobody wants to listen to that. No, thank you. Just here for pina coladas and good times and sunshine. So those would be the things that I would say ask yourself or do the research on. And the other thing that I'm going to say, please, 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 for the love of everything holy, read the recent reviews. Don't look at the reviews from a couple years ago. Don't even look at the reviews from a year ago. Look at the recent reviews, because you want to read those to see how everybody experienced it. And the other thing I'm going to say, don't worry about the one review that's a bad review. Listen, not everyone's perfect. Not every resort is perfect. So of course, that one bad review, I feel bad for that person. But if the rest of the reviews are okay, don't worry about the one bad review. Get the details when you see those reviews, right? Get the food quality, the beach conditions, the chair wars, pool music volume, and whether the buffet eggs committed crimes against humanity. You want to make sure you know all of that stuff. In closing, the next time someone says it's all inclusive, just remember that can mean luxury beachfront heaven, or it can mean one sad buffet hot dog and watered down rum punch. That's it for this week's episode of Talk Travel with Samantha, powered by Fabulous Adventures Travel. Find us on talktravelwithsamantha.com. Also on Facebook, you can follow me at Samantha-Fabulous Adventures Travel. Stay tuned for the next show of Talk Travel with Samantha. We are talking about the rookie mistakes Americans make in Europe. So if you're going to Europe this summer, I think you better listen to this one and make sure you're not making these mistakes. Until then, we'll see you next episode, where we will help you travel smarter and vacation harder.